to the point now where Jessica just says, "You're getting a haircut this week." I'm like,
okay,
great. That sounds good to me.
Thank you for taking care of me, Jessica.
because she had to do it because it's like I got to a point where I'm just not going to get a haircut. I'm just gonna.
Yeah, I don't have time.
Yeah, if it's not scheduled, it's not happening.
I feel like I am the kind of person to be like, oh, I should have gotten a haircut this month. Like I could have done it,
When's
but
the last
it
time
just.
you got a haircut? Do you get a haircut very often?
Yeah, I probably get a haircut every 5 or 6 months now.
That's quite a bit of time between haircuts.
Yeah, I think my next one might be come back to earth a little bit.
Oh yeah, buzz cut?
No, not a buzz cut.
Spiky.
But I'm tired of not. It's hard to wear a hat, and I like wearing hats.
Yeah, that's a bummer. I wear hats pretty frequently.
It's just it's kind of ruined my workflow with a hat. You know, if I wear a hat, I have to like wear it a certain way, and like Chell's got shorter hair than me, and so he can kind of like wear his backward hat in a way that works.
Yeah, and Chell's just kind of shaggy.
Yeah.
And then what Chell does is he cuts it really short, like once a year,
and just lives with it.
And then grows it all the way back out. He just goes through that cycle. Mm-hmm. And he's, I've known him for a few years now, and it's pretty consistent. Just goes right through the cycle.
But there's the one picture of y'all when y'all went to Kane Prime where he had like actual just short hair.
I know because he cuts.
But I've never seen. He hasn't had it that short.
Really?
In a while.
No, I feel like he cuts it pretty short every time.
Maybe he does, but
yeah.
I mean, it was like your length in that picture. Now he's a little more shaggy. Living the life, man.
Yeah, life's good if you're Chell Gerber.
Yep.
If you're BCP, blue collar photographer.
If you're the blue collar photographer,
Did you see what they made? They made Chell stickers.
So good.
That's pretty fun. I need to figure out how to get one.
I'm putting one on my hard hat.
Mm-hmm.
You better believe it.
Yeah.
Putting one on a cooler too, probably.
Yeah, we ought to sell those things.
I've got all kinds of thoughts for like we should sell that in the store. We need to get the store rolling.
Yes.
In the next phase. But
yeah.
I have plenty of ideas for like how this would be great in the store.
Yeah, I'm working on things right now to hopefully get the store and other things accelerated.
Sure.
Accelerated.
Yep.
And slow down to speed up is definitely right now. Let's get some ducks in the row.
Yep.
Which is why I'm traveling so much.
We got a handful of comments from the most recent like Dirt Talk clip on LinkedIn and actually on Instagram as well, mentioning how awesome your like Hawaiian BuildWitt shirt is.
Everybody loves it.
And so I had said something to Jack Briscoe. I was like, dude, we're going to need to have a Hawaiian shirt in the BuildWitt store. He's like, dude, trust me. Already in motion.
I've made that suggestion, I don't know, 300 times over.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. We could probably get all the money we need from selling Hawaiian shirts. Yeah. And I'm spending all my time over here on the wrong things.
Yeah, it turns out all the money's in Hawaiian shirts.
And I just made those for fun for our first team meeting.
Yeah.
Our very first team meeting where I made those shirts.
It's a very cool shirt. I got a women's size. It turns out.
Bummer.
It's cool. But it's women's size.
So it doesn't fit.
Oh, not even a little bit. I think me and Matt Biddle both somehow ended up with like women's cut.
Bummer.
And he and I are not women's size. Neither in height nor width. But they're cool shirts. And I love when you get to wear yours. Cho wears his a lot too.
I wear mine almost once a week.
Yeah. It's a Friday shirt.
I just cycle through the exact same shirts over and over. And then I have the same travel shirts, and then I have the same kind of at-home shirts. And so on the Dirt Talk episodes, I'm probably wearing the same like 4 shirts on every episode we've ever recorded. Like this one, the Hawaiian shirt, my upside down BuildWitt excavating grading shirt, my dinosaur shirt.
Your dinosaur shirt. That's what I was going to say.
That's kind of about it.
Yeah, that's fine. It's good to have a uniform. Many entrepreneurs do.
Mm-hmm.
Yours is more interesting than like what's it called? Not a capsule wardrobe, but where it's like you have like 5 things and that's it. That's like you just wear those 5 things over and over again.
That's a simpler way to go, though. I wish I'm half tempted to live that kind of lifestyle.
I think you and I are both similar to where it's like if you get like a shirt you like, you might, I better buy it in all the other colors it comes in.
That's exactly what I do. Yeah, if I find a shirt I like, I'm like, I am for sure buying this exact same thing.
Yep.
Yeah, last night we were at dinner with the leadership team, and our leadership team was sitting at one table, and then next to us was a bunch of guys in traditional business attire, shirts and ties and all that. And I was just sitting there, I was talking to Jason, just sitting there like, I am so glad I don't have to do that every day. Imagine wearing a shirt and tie to work.
I cannot.
Every single day. I had to go when I went to the Andy Frisell and Ed Milet deal last year. There was required dress code for one of the dinners, and it was a sport coat.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Then I had to go buy a sport coat because I don't have a sport. I would wear this to a wedding. Like I'm not. There's no reason to get dressed up in my life at all.
I got like some dressy clothes for New Year's, but it was because I'm like, well, I haven't been anywhere like where I need anything nice at all.
Oh.
Like in a while, I'm not going to weddings, and especially in the last couple of years, like those are just not happening nearly as frequently.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like, yeah, I just don't have nice clothes. At some point, I would like to spend some money on nice clothes, but like I don't even know what I want, so I'm not even gonna worry about it.
No, with pants, I have a pair of work pants when I go travel, and I have a pair of around the office pants. That's it. It's a simple system.
You have 2 pairs of jeans?
I have more pairs, but I don't really wear them. And then my work pants, they'll rip after a while because I'll be running around in them, and I don't wash them or anything like that, so they just kind of get beat up. Okay, they ripped. Buy another pair.
One of the great things I've learned as an adult, I get my jeans fixed, get them patched.
Oh,
it's
really?
Like $12-$15.
Wow, aren't you Mr. Patagonia?
Hey, man, I have not bought new jeans probably in 3 or 4 years.
Really?
Yeah, but
really?
I'll get a pair patched maybe every. Not every pair of jeans gets patched this frequently, but I'm getting some pair of jeans patched every 4 months probably.
Where do you get jeans patched? At the tailor?
The dry cleaners.
At the dry cleaners?
If they do any alterations, they absolutely will patch jeans.
Really?
Yep.
Does it, and it looks normal?
It looks okay. Like if I have some like in my leg or whatever.
Yeah.
They'll basically just like put another piece of jean on the back. Like I guess there's some character, but like you can't even tell. The ones I have on, I've probably had them patched 3 or 4 times.
No kidding.
Yeah, these are probably 8 years old.
Huh. Wow, that's
just a thought.
It's a fun fact.
When you buy nice enough clothes, it's cheaper to, not that these are nice, these are like Levi's, but it's cheaper to like get them fixed as opposed to having to buy a new pair of jeans, especially if you like them.
Well, I've gotten some Patagonia stuff fixed. I just fixed my jacket the other day with some tape.
Yeah, I don't know that you got that jacket fixed. You fixed a jacket.
I customized it.
Oh, and now you're not going to have to wear that jacket anytime soon, so you're probably good.
Well, today was a little chilly, but yes, spring is upon us.
In theory, I think we're there.
Spring is here. The baby Jesus will be born this weekend.
Mm-hmm. No, that's not how Easter works. I almost bought it for a second. I'm like, yeah, totally. I'm like, no, the subject's right. The event is wrong.
The baby Jesus is almost here, which I'm very excited about. The groundhog.
Yeah, big groundhog
has not seen his shadow. Has seen his shadow, whichever one that is. And warm weather is here. I'm just speaking.
I feel like the way Groundhog Day works, they're like, yeah, well, he didn't see a shadow, so there's going to be 6 more weeks of winter or whatever. But then if he sees his shadow, they're like, oh, now there's only 6 more weeks till spring.
I think Groundhog Day is a commercial enterprise.
Probably is.
I don't buy.
Punxsutawney Phil.
Yeah. What the hell does he know about weather? He
just
hides in a hole all day long. Does he even hide? I don't think he hides in a hole. I think they have like a whole house for him.
Oh, he's a groundhog.
Yeah, but he's a professional groundhog, so he has.
I mean, what number is he? That's the question we have to ask. Like Punxsutawney Phil.
That's the point.
50.
Yeah.
Maybe more than that. I don't know.
Or maybe groundhogs just last forever.
Yeah, sure.
They have a 100-year lifespan.
I saw one thing I was talking about. Like some seagulls can live up to 30 years, and it was like, do you think seagulls remember Friends, the show?
Maybe.
I'm like, geez.
Maybe.
I'm out there, watch a lot of TV.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
Or that's why they poop on people, because everybody's on their phones. They're not paying attention to the seagulls anymore. They're like, hey, look at us. Come on.
Like, we're going to come steal a chip off your beach towel. That's what they do.
When I was in St. George, I was with a company, JP Excavating. Great group.
Yeah.
Fascinating operation. And the big thing out there is the desert tortoise.
Of course.
Now, the desert tortoise apparently is not even native to the area of St. George, or this specific tortoise, but it's still protected nonetheless, which I didn't know was a thing. So they built this,
now that you're here,
they built this road through the desert. And during the road construction, no, you could not harm a tortoise, God forbid. But after construction and how they built the road, they built tortoise crossings. underneath the road. And so it is a 4x4 culvert underneath the road, padded with dirt, so the tortoise is not walking on concrete.
How do they know to go in there?
I have no idea. But there's even, get this, there's even skylights so that the tortoise can see where the hell it's going in the tunnel, in the tortoise crossing.
That's cool.
It's cool, but I'd be willing to bet that like 2 tortoises have ever used those.
Well, so now it's making me think, I'm like, would that be like the sickest campsite ever?
Yeah.
Like it'd be real cool in there.
Yeah.
You know?
Or spooky.
Well, it would be spooky. Depends on how wide the road is, I guess.
Spiders down there.
Like if it's like is it like a 2-lane road or like a
No, it's like a 4-lane road. So it's like it's a sizable tortoise crossing, tortoise tunnel.
That's cool.
But if you look at the cost of tortoise crossing per cost per tortoise crossing.
Yeah, the cost of each tortoise crossing per tortoise crossing.
Yeah, it's probably pretty expensive to get those tortoises across the road safely.
Did you see any when you were out there?
No, you don't see them. You never see them.
Just in theory.
Probably just they live underground too. Typically.
Oh, do they really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, they spend half the year underground. So sure, they'll be kind of active, and I've ended up with a tortoise in my yard once or twice, and you just look at it, you're like, what are you doing here? And do you belong to anybody? Because what happens is people have,
because they're bigger than like a box turtle, right?
Oh, it depends. It depends what kind of tortoise.
Okay.
But they'll have them as pets, and they'll dig under walls and escape all the time.
Yikes.
That's pretty frequent. So if you have tortoises in your backyard, you need to have really, really, really deep foundations, or else they'll just dig right under. Yeah.
Intense.
I mean, that's one word for it.
Anyway, welcome to Tortoise Talk.
Welcome to Dirt Talk, everybody, where we just talk about industry-related topics, leadership, grow yourself and your business here at Dirt Talk with Alex and Aaron.
Working on your business, not in your business.
This is our 4th podcast for today. Mm-hmm. So I think we're running out of things to talk about, hence the tortoise discussion.
Or maybe we were so jazzed about tortoises. How long have we been going? 12 minutes.
12 minutes. But I have seen a bunch of so this is one of the problems with building things in America is the lawyers and the environmentalists have really gone to town.
Sure.
Really gone to town for the sake of, we need to protect the environment. There cannot be no harm. There cannot be any harm whatsoever. And it's very detrimental to economic progress a lot of times. And it's funny, these people, like, they protested this subdivision very, very intensely. Where do you live? Like, how do you protest a subdivision of houses? So where do you live? Are you living amongst the desert tortoises out in the desert and recycling everything? And it's like, how can you go protest residential construction when you live in a house? How does that work?
I don't want other people to have houses.
Yeah. Stupid.
I had to walk uphill both ways in the snow to get to my house. I went to the House of Hard Knocks.
But it's like the, desert tortoise and this burrowing owl, and it's rare squirrel mating season, so we can't do any work right now. There's all of these environmental rules now, and it makes it really, really difficult to get a lot of projects done nowadays, which is a bummer. I'm all for saving tortoises and all that, but also I've seen the extent they go to out there on some of these solar jobs. It's a little insane.
Like, this could just be better.
Well, there was one solar job outside of Nevada, outside of Vegas. It was a 15-mile road, dirt road, to get to the solar farm, which is that's a little ways. There were desert tortoises out there, so they had to set up tortoise fence all the way down the 15-mile stretch of road. And then, this is the worst part, it was a very strict 10-mile-per-hour speed limit.
Ugh. In the desert.
In the middle of nowhere.
Brutal.
Very strict. And if the general contractor caught you, you were thrown off.
No thanks, man.
Yeah. And it was posted, and very obviously posted.
You don't miss it.
Every 12 feet or so. It was ridiculous.
Jeez.
Yeah. So you're just like, just sitting there, just like, wow. Yeah, this is it's cool. Because if one tortoise got run over, whole project gets shut down. Or when I was in California, I can tell these stories all day long. They tie these little reflective strips to the scrapers because if one of these birds lands on the scraper and puts its nest in there, you can't touch the machine anymore. So it'd be a $2 million machine.
They can't move because
they can't move because a bird nested in the damn thing.
Ugh.
And you can't do anything about it. So they put these little reflective strips to
like scare the birds
away. It's like, go nest elsewhere. We don't want you in our 657.
They just need
scraper.
to put a fake owl on top of every piece of machinery. That's the real way.
That would be cool. I feel like I've seen that before. That would be sweet. Yeah.
It would look cooler, all I'm saying.
Yeah.
So only in the last couple of weeks did I ever find out that Utah also has desert and not just mountains. I didn't know any better.
Oh, dude. Utah is one of the most diverse states I've been to.
Is Zion like in South Utah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Zion's there, and yeah, you have the whole Wasatch Front. You have the Great Salt Lake area. There's so many awesome, beautiful parts of Utah. And Southern Utah is extraordinary because I grew up in Phoenix, and so I would go up to Utah all the time. Zion and Bryce, and
Bryce.
Yeah, it's an awesome place.
Sick.
Moab's a little overrated nowadays, though.
Kind of popular.
It's so popular, and the infrastructure hasn't grown at all. So it's just a total zoo. It's like Sedona.
Is Moab one of those places where you have to have like a permit to go to it now?
No, it's a town.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I'm sure they regulate some parts of the surrounding area.
Yeah. I know there's like a couple like hikes you can do like from like, starting in Idaho or Montana or something that can come through like Utah or Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico, like all the way to Mexico.
That's a long hike.
And you have to have like permits because they don't want to like let too many people do it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't really want to do that hike anyway.
Speaking of travel, I go to Europe in a week.
Man, I just feel like you travel so much that it's like you can't even look forward to the big one because you like got 4 other places to go first.
Yeah, this one's I'm not thinking about it at all. I'm just gonna
show up at the airport like any other thing.
Hope it works. Yeah, but we're gonna go see 3. Have we talked about on the podcast?
A little bit, but I think you can certainly keep going.
So I'm not sure if this is redundant or not, but we're going to see 3 or 4 very large Swiss demolition companies, which I'm very excited about.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're hanging out with Liebherr in France and Germany.
Yeah, that's gonna be sick.
So
10 days?
Yeah, 9 or 10.
Okay.
I'm really, really, really excited for it because I'm gonna be able to see the industry in a much more refined way. Because I've heard the Europeans are very refined, methodical, a little further along in the industry standards and equipment world than the United States is.
Well, there's a lot of buildings out there that are like 1,000 years older than our country.
I don't know how such a small country as Switzerland has so many massive demolition companies either. Because they have a lot of
mountains, and so they don't have maybe as many places to build. I don't know. But
that'll be really exciting to report on. So stay tuned there.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very cool. Wait, you leave Monday? Did you just say? Not.
I leave a week from Saturday.
A week from Saturday. Got it.
I have to run the Boston Marathon this weekend.
Oh yeah. Well, that's something to say too.
Mm-hmm.
What is that? Sunday? Saturday?
Monday.
Oh, that's right. I forgot that's like during the week. Isn't it?
It's kind of funny. So, yeah.
And you're not really like you've talked a little bit before. You're not really doing like any training. You're just continue to do what you do, and then I'll show up and run the marathon.
Yeah, I'm just gonna show up and run it. Yeah.
It's a flex. Yeah, I just show up to marathons and run them. No big deal.
I bought some dried mango at the store this week, so that'll be my fuel.
Yeah, that was actually my follow-up question.
Mango Man.
So for a race like that, what are you carrying?
I will have a hydration pack with me that I typically like to wear when I race because it'll have like an electrolyte mix in it. So I'm not just drinking water, but I don't like Gatorade because that's too much sugar.
You get that hydration multiplier, man.
Yeah. But so I'll have that, and then I'll probably just have dried mango and pineapple to eat. You're not going for long enough in a marathon to You can technically just not eat for a marathon. It'll suck.
But
I've learned to eat a lot. I've learned how to eat while I run in a race. So I'll just eat a little bit beforehand and then just live off of dried fruit for the race. And then I'll eat plenty afterwards.
How long do the pair of running shoes last for you these days?
Probably 3 or 4 months.
Okay.
4 months.
Good amount of miles on those for sure.
Yeah. And the thing about a marathon too, this is going to sound a little ridiculous, but you don't burn that many calories. You burn it's like 2,000 calories, like 1,500, 2,000 calories. That's not that much energy. So everybody's like, "Oh, what are you going to eat after?"
It's you can eat like a bacon cheeseburger and get it all back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can afford to have some pizza after, but it's not like you slam a whole pizza. Okay, good. You're even for the day. So it's not like you're doing anything all that significant. Anyway,
man, you've got a lot. Like even in the next week, a handful of things going on.
Try not to.
That's just where we are. It's fine.
Don't think about it.
I've got a couple of dirt talk questions. You want to dig in?
Yeah.
Okay.
With my very little bit of remaining energy.
Yep. This question's a little heavy, so I just want to say thanks to Dylan for sending this in. He says, I've fallen in love with the heavy machine world and all it has to offer. And through that, finding content such as your own, which has helped to shape how I try to be in the workplace. But unfortunately, I learned recently how brutal this industry can be due to a workplace accident that happened to another one of our quarries not 20 minutes from mine, regarding someone being crushed. I'm not even a year into this world of heavy machinery, and today I already felt a gut-wrenching feeling of never wanting to come back. He also mentions complacency in the industry. Are situations like this just a tough reality of the dirt world, and what is actually being done to mitigate those things?
It can be a reality, but it doesn't have to be a reality. It is a dangerous environment. The dirt world is. We operate within a dangerous world, but these days, if you're really caring for people and living in a safe manner and have enough training, it's pretty, I wouldn't say easy, but it's not complicated to not endanger yourself. Like I was thinking about the other day, I would be very, 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 very confident in betting that far more people in the industry pass away from automotive accidents, driving and leaving work than they do at work.
On the job site.
Yeah. So sure, you can have some terrible accidents, some fatalities in this industry. A lot of it is complacency. Sometimes it's inexperience, but a lot of times it's complacency.
Just like we know the right way, but we'll just do it this easy way because it's faster.
And rather than letting it terrify me to a point where I just, I don't want to be here anymore or freeze up or anything like that. I don't think that's a good, if it's for you, I don't think that's a good reason to be afraid. I think it's a compelling reason I need to care for those around me more. I need to educate myself more on safe practices. I need to make sure I am present at work and making sure I'm not complacent. So I'm not, getting smashed the night before I go to a shift at the quarry because I know I'm not going to be able to operate as effectively as I need to operate, and putting myself in turn putting myself in greater harm's way.
And you're not just responsible for your life all the time when you're on a job site. So you're kind of all keeping each other safe.
That's it. Yeah. So I think those stories are useful as far as here's the reality of what can happen. That said, it doesn't need to happen if we're all doing what we should be doing, and if we're all caring for one another, and if we're all taking responsibility for our actions, and if we're all making sure we're not falling victim to complacency. So,
yeah,
there you
go. What really caught me and is what I've been thinking about. Obviously, that's like a tragic accident. It's really sad, and clearly this is close to where this guy was working, and there's probably some kind of personal connection one way or another. I'm catching myself thinking more about I'm not even a year into this world of heavy machinery, and today I already felt a gut-wrenching feeling of never wanting to come back.
Yeah.
Like, when I think about like stuff that I love and it getting like tainted in one way or another, even if it's like temporary, like that's like a really heavy thing to like have to reckon with.
Well, and yeah, it's, you know, what I've learned in therapy is process the emotion. Like, allow yourself to feel scared. That's a good,
and
valuable
I think what
feeling.
That's what that looks like to me, is like that like first stage of like this. I'm not going to feel this way forever, but it sure as hell feels like this right now.
And so great, that's okay to feel like that. And then now it's, you know, after you've been able to feel like that for a little bit, it's how can I learn from this and use this to care for and keep those I work with and myself safe at my quarry. And then, hey, maybe I realize like, holy smokes, the company I work for does not care about me. I need to go elsewhere, because there's a lot of companies where it's very, very, very serious, and it's very, very, very caring, and it's very, very, very thoughtful when it comes to safety. And every accident I've seen like that, there's always, here are the 5 different things that could have prevented that.
That should have prevented that.
That should have prevented that.
Yeah.
So yeah, fatalities are unfortunately a reality of the industry, but they're, statistically speaking, super, super rare. The most common kind of fatality is probably a worker getting hit on a highway project by traffic.
By other people.
Yes. That's probably, if I had to guess, by far the most common. And we don't talk about, again, exhaustion, driving to and from work, because I'm sure that kills a lot more people than anything in any kind of construction industry does. Suicide, that kills 5 times more people than people who lose their lives on the job. We don't talk about mental health. So there's a lot of other things there that we can focus on as well.
Thanks for sending that in, Dylan, and thanks for talking about that, Aaron. Yeah, I'll just move on from that. I don't need to offer anything else. Yeah. All right. Next question.
It's heavy, but the best thing I've found that you can do is just what can be learned from this.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think it's a good, I think it's almost an argument to stay in the industry, because it's, man, this is happening. What could I have done to not to assign responsibility on like, I could have prevented that, I should have prevented it, but how can I, as a leader in the dirt world, make sure that doesn't happen to anyone around me?
I guess one thing I'm thinking about is, and I'm generalizing here and I'm projecting, so bear with that. Say, you know, you're the person who runs this business where like this person, you know, had an accident, was passed away. Is like your next move, we're going to have to do all this safety training because our insurance is going to go up. I mean, obviously it's not that cold, but any implementing of like safety things, like that's a lot of that's probably going to be like required for insurance.
Yeah. So a lot of times safety is compliance.
Yeah.
And safety is insurance and regulation and legal, you know, it's unfortunate that it's that way, but, and not that to say all these people don't care about people, but these programs are not designed from an actual caring standpoint. It's really just a compliance function. It's how they're designed and carried out. And so, but I think to have a really strong program, it comes from a deep sense of caring and compassion and love and empathy. That's where a proper safety program should come from. And we need more of that in the industry. So that's a great. You're a young person in the industry. You're a young leader. How do you help the industry do more of that? Because that's what we need. And the companies that do have those programs that really come from a sense of caring for people are hands down the most successful.
Yeah. Like they actually works, or
they actually work, which is pretty crazy. I mean, it's not crazy, but it's amazing that more companies don't pursue that line of thinking.
I could see a lot of leadership groups almost feel like helpless after like something like this, where, you know, obviously like they have to do this training and, you know, other things that feel like you say like a little bit more about compliance than like actual safety. I'm sure it could feel very like almost in a helpless position where it's like I'm doing like what the like law says, but how do I like encourage more of like what you're saying, like this culture of like real care? I feel like that would be difficult if it's not already in place. Like how do I go from we're clearly missing this like actual in practice safety measure, safety culture, to go from like not having that to having that, I'm sure like is really difficult, especially after like a thing happens.
Well, it's cultural change that you have to create, and that takes a long time, but it's well worth it. You know, like we talked to the Hoopball guys, it took them 5 years to get to where they are. It didn't just happen overnight, and it starts from the top. But you just chip away at it, and after a few years of really changing and shaping the new culture you want to create, it is a way better way to go than just staying with the status quo.
Well, right on.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you. All right. Next question is from Corey. Question's a little long, but I think it's good. I'm a 27-year-old project engineer for a contractor that works throughout the Southeast U.S. It's no secret that a large number of people in the field, superintendents and managers, are in the age range of retiring in the next 5 to 10 years, with no real replacement person lined up for their position. Through my experience, you hear from all the older guys about how bad their family life is or how many wives they've had since they work on the road and are never home. In my opinion, the new generation wants to be more involved in their family and work closer to home. So in turn, that contributes to guys quitting after 5 to 10 years of working to go work closer to home and do other jobs instead. I find myself in this position because I'm getting married in a few months. I love big equipment and construction, but family is becoming more and more a part of my life. What's your opinion on this problem?
Gotta do what's best for you. I think the market will adjust. These companies that travel, they're going to have to figure out how to keep people a little bit more local. I think that's just they've built their business on being able to move people or hire people wherever they need to go. That's not reality anymore. They'll adjust, but you as an individual, you need to do what's best for you.
I think if it's not right for you, you have to go somewhere else.
Not right for you, go somewhere else, man. I think that's simple. I think if based on what I've learned, I've never been married, so I'm not one to speak on the subject, but based on what I've learned, I think people would, they regret getting a divorce. They don't typically regret leaving jobs. So, and maybe you can structure your life or have that conversation with the company you're working with. Maybe you can move into the office or just stay put in one region. And hey, I don't want to move somewhere, and just set those expectations. Be clear with that. If you like the company you're at, again, we have a value of transparency wins for a reason, because it really wins. If you're working for a great business that cares about you, you should be able to have that conversation saying, hey, honestly, I'm a little nervous about this. I've seen what happens to other guys. I'm getting married. What would you do in my situation? If you have someone higher up in the business that cares about you and you have a good relationship with, that's probably a great place to start. Have that conversation with them. But ultimately, do what's best for you. Let the market adjust. I struggle to feel bad for these companies. I get it. But they're going to have to adjust their businesses to the realities of where the workforce and where the world is at nowadays. And it's not where it was 50 years ago when they built their current business model. It just doesn't work anymore.
Yeah. And I think that from like their perspective, and we've talked about this a little bit before, even if like it, that did work 50 years ago, and they can complain or they can be frustrated, be like, if people only did it this way, it would work. And it's like, that's true, but it doesn't matter, because like this is what the workforce requires now. Yeah. So you can either struggle or like do what the workforce requires. Yeah.
And I don't have a good answer. And again, I'm not hiring blue collar people all over different states and moving people around, this and that. But I just think, again, it comes back to caring. And how can we be more cognizant of people's family life? How can we be more caring of human beings in general? And maybe it's not dramatically shifting the business. Maybe it's, here's what we can do to retain people. Or maybe it's a different schedule, 2 weeks on, 1 week off, 1 week off. Or I don't know what it is. A lot of companies have tried a lot of different things. It's a tricky deal to navigate from a company standpoint. But from an individual standpoint, do what's best for you at the end of the day. Yep. That's a no-brainer. And I would give anybody within our company that advice is, hey, ideally, what's best for you can also fit within BuildWitt. But if it doesn't, that's okay. You need to do what's best for you. That's and there's just, that's by far the approach.
Right on.
But also it's, and maybe doing business differently. Maybe it's teaching people how to communicate more effectively. Maybe it's we're going to go leverage Echelon Front and teach our people extreme ownership so that they're just better husbands and wives when they go home. So that maybe that does help them work. There's a lot of people that work away from home a lot and are very successful. They just don't have the tools they need to make it, most people don't have the tools they need to make it successful. So maybe give them the damn tools. Maybe give them the training they need. Maybe have those conversations with them. Hey, how's everything at home? How's everything at home? So I know it's like talking with like a, JP or somebody like that at Echelon Front. They started someone like that, he went through a rough part of his relationship, and that's because he wasn't taking extreme ownership, and then he was given those tools and became that more effective individual through extreme ownership and all of that. And now he has a great family life and great relationship, and he's on the road a lot. So maybe that's another way to approach it. I don't know.
That's interesting. I feel like we've talked to a couple companies recently who like invest in, a version of training like for their people. And both of them have referenced that like investing in their people to be better people is like really an important part of that training to them.
Yeah. And maybe it's both. Maybe it's investing in people and allowing them to communicate and just be better at home. And then it's also maybe we need to adjust some of the business models in the industry so that it's more of a localized type approach where you have one contractor in that one region and you don't have these massive contractors just scooting to wherever they need to go I don't know. I just know the market's going to adjust.
Well, yeah, it's like if you can say, we can solve turnover by doing this thing, most people would probably agree to that thing, but they're so worried, like, well, here's like how we run our business. And so we have to do it this way because like, that's what works. I mean, it's like, clearly it doesn't, like if you look at what you're doing right now, but I think there is, obviously a lot of companies are resistant to that change still.
Mm-hmm. Which it's fair. I don't blame them. I would be too. But they'll need to navigate it. So from a company standpoint, how do I care for my people? And okay, great. If my business is stuck in this model, at least now, even if you need to adjust your model down the road, it's not going to adjust today. How can I equip my people today with just the ability to be more effective and take extreme ownership over their personal lives so that they're not getting divorced unnecessarily? And then me as an individual, I need to do what's best for me as an individual at the end of the day.
Yep.
So if that's leaving the company you've been at because that's what's going to be best for your family, do that.
Might have to do that.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, thank you for that question, Corey. I think that's Dirt Talk, my friend.
That's a Dirt Talk episode. If you have things, thoughts, we have a feedback form, buildwit.com/feedback. If you want to write Alex, dirttalk@buildwit.com. He sees everything you send there. He would love to hear from you. Rate us on the podcast app if you can. Listen to us on the BuildWitt app. Download it if you haven't. Check out the podcast and all of our leaders content totally for free. And with that, we'll see you on the next episode of Dirt Talk. Stay dirty, everybody.